Okay, we're recording. I don't know. Okay. All right. Okay, let me go back. Technical difficulties already. This is what happens when we try to be fancy. All right, what's the word, Vaughn?
What up, what up, what up?
It's good to see ya.
I got you too, man.
Yeah.
Came back from a family trip. 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
By myself.
By yourself?
Yeah, my mom copped out on me.
Oh, wow. So you were just like solo road trip. That's...
Yeah. But I had a good playlist. I had a couple of playlists happening.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to like scavenge so many playlists from different people.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice to like going down there was nice because I had excitement, listening to music and everything, and then like coming back on that last hour, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
gotta get home.
I just gotta get. Yeah. Oh yeah, and like also like I feel like this is something I never think about until I'm outside, and I don't go out that often now that we're in a pandemic, but like with all of the pandemic situation, like bathrooms aren't as accessible when you're driving places. Public bathrooms aren't just there the way that they used to be for us, and you can't just like stop. So I can totally understand like the 6 hour being like 80 miles an hour. I have to pee.
Crazy. But I mean, yeah, I made it back safely. I now have to self-quarantine 14 days. So I'm going to be doing that. But I need to, like, I'm just being a little bit lazy. I know that there's definitely a clinic out there that's giving free COVID testings, like on different days. I just need to remind myself of where they are. But I already did the test once, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that again. Like,
I haven't, and I just don't think it's for me. I think I'm just gonna keep in my solitary confinement that I've keeping myself in, and then I'm just gonna stay okay. I don't need something all up in me like that.
And the best way to describe it is like if you've ever been swimming, it's like I mean, it's like you've ever been swimming and like you kind of like suck up like water up your nose and you get that stick. And that's exactly what it feels.
Yeah, when it's just like
it's like crazy. So yeah, I'll be self-quarantining for 14 days. But it was nice to see well, not nice. I don't know. It's a 50-50 thing, but I guess finally Megan came out and told us what's going on, showed us the wound. That's what I've been waiting for. You know what I mean? I want to make sure she's okay. I care about her as a person too, even though I don't know her personally. But
I feel like I do. I feel like she's one of my friends. She's just a year younger than me. Like, let's go, girl. We could hang out.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, y'all are close in age, so there's that. I feel old as shit.
I know, she's mad young to be this successful, and I'm feeling like, damn, bitch, I ain't doing nothing.
Right, and she looked like a grown, I mean, she is grown, but she looked about 30.
Yeah, she look older than both of us, so that's...
Right. I still look like I'm 16, for real. But, yeah, it was nice to see that, like, she, you know, I mean, it's nice that she spoke up, but under the conditions, I feel like was just absolutely ridiculous as far as people, like, not believing her and, like, making up, you know, the storyline and everything behind it, which, like, I don't think I ever, like, not believed her. I was just like, I want to see how bad it is. Like, where on the foot? Is she ever going to be working again? Like, I just want to know an update on that. You know
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm concerned for her, you know, safety and how she recovers and all that, but it was kind of like my only reaction to her actually telling us that this bitch-ass nigga Tory Lane shot her was just like, we know, girl, thanks for finally confirming, but how many niggas reacted to calling her a snitch right afterwards is just mind-blowing to me. Like, it was ridiculous how quickly folks started switching everything up on her, calling her a snitch, blaming her for getting shot by him, when she said all that happened was all they had was a verbal argument. Even if Megan beat the shit out of Tory, it don't fucking matter. He shouldn't have shot her. I don't care. Yeah, he's 5'2". He's mad fucking little. He probably, like, she could beat the shit out of him, guaranteed. The only way he got to her is because he had a weapon. That little boy couldn't do anything to her if he didn't. So, like, let's be honest. Like, we know he couldn't do shit. We need to, deport his ass back to Kansas. We don't need him. What's his name? Daystar. We do not need little Daystar at all. Like, it's just
to speak up. Like, why is he silent? Like,
yeah.
I get it. Maybe you're super embarrassed or whatever, but like, you need to speak up. You have a responsibility as a Black man, whether you want it or not, to speak up. Especially if you're involved and you're perfectly fine. Like,
yeah, no, he has a responsibility no matter who he is as a man, like who he is. He has a responsibility as the shooter to like respond in some way, especially because she's not pressing charges. Like, you need to come out with a formal apology. Like, it's wild that that's not the first thing that they thought of. Like, let's not, like, Megan had to like make a formal statement, but he still hasn't made a formal statement, but he's the shooter. He's the one in the wrong. And there's like been like, NFL players that have come out and said like, oh, if you get yourself wrapped up with a crazy dude like this, like, you kind of deserve to get shot. And these are the same niggas that are like being charged for like, choking out their bitches and stuff like that. So it's just like this crazy cycle of just like, how do we protect Black women when clearly Black men, or just men in all of society, doesn't think about how to protect Black women. They don't think about how it's so constant that we're thinking about how to protect them, and they don't think about how to protect us. Like, the fact that Megan's reasoning for why she didn't say anything for so long is because she didn't want to get him in trouble in the first place. And then they try to like flip all the stories on her. And then she was just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. You did this to me. Like, I was trying to save you, and then you try to flip the shit on me. And then this is what's going to happen. Like, you deserve this shit. So you know what? We see you, Black girls. We see you there. Yeah.
T-shirt. Exactly. Like, so how do we protect women? I think I saw something very briefly on social media where it was like, because now Instagram has like these reels that's like TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's just like the small things, like walk me to my car, like make sure, or if you drop me off, make sure that I'm in the house,
Mm-hmm.
Call me. Even if you saw me come in the house, like call me and make sure I'm good, or buy some food. Just little things, And so I think Boston, I think we definitely showed an example of how to protect Black women as far as, getting together as like, I don't know about the Caucasian Boston. I just know
it was specifically the Black arts community that rallied together, the Black and brown arts community that rallied together for, I would say, a vital member of our community, Radical Black Girl. She is a vital member of our community, and we came together and we shared, we communicated. Even during a time of a pandemic, we were able to get the word out from Houston to Boston. And over a weekend of stress, 3-4 days of stress of us just not really knowing where or how to help, and just from sharing and getting the word out and just keep talking about it, and eventually she's home safe. And that's really great to hear, and it's amazing to hear. And I'm like thanking all the gods, Allah, like Jesus, like thank you all of them, because I was so scared for the worst type of news to hear. And it's just like really like you're seeing, it's a great example of like how you can protect Black women in almost an effortless way. Like, it's not like we were a search party. Like, we did it online and like in our homes, and we still were able to at least protect in some way. And I think that protect is a continuous thing. Like, it's not just like one movement or one action that allows us to be to protect another one. Like, a great photographer friend of ours, OJ Slaughter, like they mentioned on their Instagram how or I don't know if it was them that a couple people shared out, but a lot of people were just saying like, oh, it is not a time for us to, you know, ask Destiny what happened during that time where we couldn't find her. It is not our business necessarily to like question someone about their trauma, or a situation that we really have no idea what went down. So it's kind of wild. Like, I think that we can connect this to Megan like very closely because this was a personal thing that happened to Megan, and everyone demanded we knew what the fuck happened to her. And it's not on us. We don't deserve to know. All we should be doing is protecting her and charging the man that shot her, charging the person that is responsible for her pain. And that's similar to, you know, Radical Black Girl. If someone is responsible for her pain, then yeah, we'll figure that out. But whatever her story is, that's hers. And it's not on us to know.
And just to mention to our viewers who are not in Boston, it was just a simple, well, not simple, but slightly complicated situation where Destiny was traveling. She was supposed to get on a connected flight from Houston to Boston. That did not happen. No one heard from her in a couple days. And I feel like, you know, the reinforcements came, and we just went and just shared all the news that we knew about her, you know, what she looked like at the time, you know, what was the location as far as the bus terminal and how she was supposed to come to Boston. And this could have been an easy case, because this also reminds me, what was it, like maybe a couple years ago, of that situation of the girl, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but she, this was in Boston, a club night.
Oh, at Venue?
Yeah.
Girl,
Was
that
it
was
Venue? Well,
the
either way.
Venue, because I was at Venue like a week before she was kidnapped, and I remember being like, "Damn, I'm not going to Venue again."
And then soon enough, we heard, you know, that she was dismembered in somebody's
Mm-hmm.
car. So it's like that. It could have, like, it really could have gotten to that. And just thank God that she is safe and that she is home. And, you know, just pray for her, you know, healing. And let's just continue to, you know, protect our community, protect our Black women in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I think it's like really important that that protection is based in reality, because I feel like the only times we see that true protection is in science fiction. Speaking of science fiction, Lovecraft Country just came out, which is a beautiful show on HBO, and we are very, very excited for Bad Hair to come out on Hulu. Lovecraft Country was based off a book. It is a heavily science fiction based show, but it is also based, I believe, in the late 40s, early 50s. So that being said, and being in the South, that being said, that is clearly and based around Black people. Racism is a big character in this show, but so are vampires and like octopi creatures and all these other crazy things that are coming at Black folks.
excitement.
Yeah, it's a lot of excitement, and the Black woman that is the lead in the role, she was in Roll Bounce and all these other things. What is her name? She was also in a great episode of The Twilight Zone. But I think the way that they're presenting her character is great, because not only are, you know, the main men in this show protecting her in a like physical way, but she is also, you know, just as much a character, and just as much like just as strong as the men. And her wits are tested, and everything is tested with her too. And I think that this is like a great example of like showing the true strength of a Black woman. Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm saying Journey's her name.
Oh yeah, Journey. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this is also produced by Jordan Peele, which is like, duh, we love it. So great show. Only one episode has been out, I believe, or two now. So it's amazing.
I mean, I'm excited for it because at least this is like, it's opening our eyes in the Black community to say that like there is, we can tell our story, but then we also can get crazy with it. Like, it doesn't have to be the typical, Jim Crow racist, killing black versus white. It can also be like black versus white versus monsters versus
or what's even crazier in Lovecraft Country, it is black versus white, and then monsters is just a third team. Like, everyone is fighting each other. The blacks and whites are not necessarily working together, because these black folks are like literally escaping sundown towns where they're like running out of towns to make sure they leave so they don't get lynched by these white men. And then they enter a new county, and then they're approached with vampire monsters that can destroy you. But like, there's just, levels of it. And I think it's really important to show the levels of black folks' trauma, not necessarily being exclusively what white folks have done to us. There is other things in the world, right? I think we give a lot of power to white folks in the sense that they have, altered our entire way of being in like our entire society globally. We're giving them so much fucking power to show how they are the like biggest trauma in our life. But it's like, the environment, the world is so much bigger than them. We need to like, look outside of them as our main points of trauma. And also, I think it's awesome that we see like black folks in a fictional space where we get to stay alive.
Right.
Where we get to live. Even if we're fighting the whole time, we're living.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think you really touched on something as far as saying that there's like basically levels to this trauma shit, because in addition to the things that are affecting us on the outside, it's also things that are affecting us on the inside. And I think that's what you changed it already, but Bad Hair film touch on, like the American horror, I think like, so it's a horror film based in 1989 that follows a woman that kind of is image obsessed, and she ends up getting a weave, and that weave has like a mind of its own and starts like, I don't know, I guess similar to maybe like the boogeyman or something. I don't know. The hair itself becomes a whole monster, and it just, I mean, these are real life things. Like, I mean, look at my hair, look at your hair. Like, we go through these things of changing, and it's not necessarily that like we're changing it for other people, but that's how some of us are affected. That it's like we have to keep up with this certain image, and it's such like a constant battle. Like, if the white people, like, we have to like feel okay with ourselves. Right. And so I think I'm for that. Unfortunately, it's coming out in October, which is like, but I feel like I think American horror isn't really that. I think Jordan Peele and Justin Simien, I think they're really digging into a genre that like we're not used to seeing ourselves in, but then also seeing ourselves like succeed. So I'm not 100% sure, because I only saw the trailer Bad Hair film, but I'm hoping that like at the end, either she like cuts it off and starts over, or I just hope she doesn't die.
Yeah. I mean, this the creator of Bad Hair is also the creator of Dear White People as well, so that's also something to note. So I think that this is going to have a very different kind of approach than the way that kind of Jordan Peele is just like into this science fiction realm, and he's really diving into how much he can put Black folks into this realm that we've been excluded from for so long. So I'm really excited to see how Lovecraft Country continues, because I'm now a diehard fan, and I'm so hyped for Bad Hair. October is going to be a fun month with scary movies, so I'm excited for that. But there's also some like cool art to be shown. You wanted to talk to me about this video. I'll mute it while we talk.
First off, it's visually appeasing. I mean, like, I don't know. You see me with my Bantu and my African print and everything. I'm out
inspired.
here feeling inspired. Exactly. I'm out here feeling feeling inspired, and I think it's so simple. Okay, so this is artist Totem. Excuse me if I mispronounce, but I don't have like the accent. But it's Toby Noingwe,
Mm-hmm.
Noingwe, and he's Nigerian. I think he's Nigerian American, but he's from Houston. And him and his wife and his babies that pop up in the video have been just really, I think, just really making a statement for us. Like they're like in a way that's like just it's art. It's art. It's just what all artists should be doing, and they are doing it in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the time period that we're going in right now, it's like you gonna listen to me. I'm gonna put these subtitles. All right,
Mm-hmm.
we're in a room. All right, we gonna have our linens on, and you're gonna listen to these words, and we're gonna have fun while doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give a shout out to this artist because this video is, I think the song's called Eat, and I just think it just speaks to how in this time of so much like disparity that like this just is just proven Black excellence. Like
Mm-hmm. It's so much Black joy, and it's without I feel like it's like pure, it feels like it's such a pure Black joy because there's no excess of brand names, there's no excess of logos or anything like that. It is literally seven black people just in a like seafoam green room, all wearing seafoam green and loving themselves and just dancing and having a good old time. And
you mentioned Beyonce, and I'm like,
mm-hmm.
she got her hand into this a little bit. I don't know.
Look at the babies coming into the scene, and I love how none of the women are wearing like super close, tight clothing. Like it's all very loose fitting. Everyone just feels comfortable, and it's like I want this feeling to continue. I want this feeling of comfortableness to continue as we continue to protest. I want us to protest in this artistic way in a visual sense, but we should also be able to protest in marches. And you want to talk a little bit about this March on Washington that's happening in a few days.
Yes. So we are still in Black August month. If you guys remember, I mentioned it in our last video about how Black August is just really, I guess it's more about celebrating our rebellious kind of nature, you know, like but it's not like the rebellion that has no meaning. It's like this rebellion that is with purpose. And so
it's a fight for equity. It's a fight for equity. That's all we're asking for.
Exactly. And so
we shouldn't have to rebel. Like y'all made it, so we had to.
I agree. And I think so what's happening, so in 1963 there was the first March on Washington. Some of you may be very familiar with Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech that he did at that time at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And so that march in 63 was quote unquote for jobs and freedom. And so this one, the March on Washington Part 2, I want to call it, is Get Your Knee Off Our Necks. It's happening this Thursday on the 27th at the same spot, the Lincoln Memorial Theater. Reverend Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King Martin Luther King Jr. the third, and John Lewis definitely had their hands on this march. I think the announcement about it came in the height of George Floyd's murder. And so, I mean, I am happy about this. I am happy, but I am also at the same time like a little aggravated because it's just like, oh, like
again,
March, like again, and it's like, you know, Al Sharpton is always the first one, like, trying to be, the representative of the black community, and he lost all this weight now, so it's like, he's just out here in everything, and I commend him for like doing that action, but I also feel like you're not the wrong action, but I just feel like there needs to be some more progression. Like the direction needs to go more this way than this way and all that. Like we could march all day, we can walk and we can talk, but like where are the laws here? And excuse me because I mentioned this before, like I'm coming from like your average millennial that's like out here feeling these things, and I just want to see the change. Like like you guys want to share, like everybody wants to share all the negative. Just what was it, yesterday or a couple days, another black man got shot.
Yeah, Jacob Blake, he goes by Jake. He was shot 7 times in the back while he was trying to separate a fight that apparently was happening on the street. During that fight, the cops were called. He tried to separate the altercation. He then ignored what the cops were saying to him because guess what? He wasn't doing anything wrong. It's not like, I get it, they're the law, but you do not control humans. And I think that's what cops are really misunderstanding, that they have control over any particular black person that they want. And as Jacob was walking back into his vehicle because he wanted to check up on, I believe, his 3 children who were in the vehicle at the time, a police officer shot him 7 times in the back.
In front of them.
In front of his children. As of right now, Jacob is still alive, and it seems like he will survive. However, obviously, this is an incredibly life-changing, life-altering injuries that he is going to be facing. And that police officer, I don't know his name, I will find it and get back to that in the recording, but he needs to be arrested for murder. Not just fired. I really hate the bare minimum of just like firing the cops that killed people. If I shot a child, I don't just get fired from teaching. Like, what? That's not how shit works.
Oh my gosh. And then I was saying this happened in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think of Wisconsin, I'm like what? Nothing really happens in Wisconsin. Like what?
That's
like,
also where Althea Bernstein was. Do you remember the story of Althea Bernstein? She was she was sitting at a traffic light and some boys like went by her and like threw lighter fluid on her and like flames on her, and then they set her on fire. And this happened back in June. So Wisconsin's wild. The white folks over there, they love their cheese and don't like their black folks. That's what all I know. So if you're a black vegan up in Wisconsin, you got to go.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're doing this march, and what's the word? We're I don't know. I'm calling it a reunion, but it's like we're constantly throwing. Remember what Martin Luther King did? Martin Luther King, and peace and all that. And it's like, yeah, but like, let's do it. Like, let's march to these motherfuckers' houses. Like,
yeah. It feels like this is a sequel, right? Like this is a sequel movie to what the civil rights. But the thing is about sequels, it's supposed to be like what's next, and like things are supposed to change. It feels like a sequel where things haven't changed much. So it's like, what? Why am I even watching this? Like, for what? Why is this happening? So, yeah, like I totally agree. There needs to be bigger, stronger things that are happening, but I don't know if it's necessarily on the backs of the protesters right now. I think it's on the backs of our lawmakers. And hope
we're still in a pandemic. God damn it! What is happening? Okay, yeah, wear your mask and social distance or whatever, but the March on Washington in '63 brought among 200,000 people.
Yeah, I have no idea how many people are going to come out for this one.
Right. I mean, because people are angry. We're angry. We want change. And I think if I was still there in Washington, well, first off, I know my family wouldn't go in that protest because of the COVID. So
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna sit my ass right here and watch it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I was still there and if I was fully for the march, I'm only halfway for the march. I would go there with the intention of like, I'm going to make change. Like, I get it, you'll be a part of history, but I think people are expecting to go there to make change and to link up with other people who also want change, and that like change is gonna happen. But I think what's actually gonna happen is that like people are like going to like are going with the still intention of like, I'm gonna make change, but the change will come eventually.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like the change will happen. And I get it, because that's just how life works. Like, you have to take it stepping stone by stepping stone. But like, damn it, like, win.
Yeah. I mean, as millennials, obviously we want that instant gratification and we're tired of this bullshit. So hopefully when millennials become the main folks in Congress, in the Senate, then shit will change. And unfortunately, that's just going to take a couple more years because not all of us are of age to be in those levels of power.
And that reminds me of how important it is to vote.
Yep. I mean, we have great young women leaders, like AOC is out there killing it for us. I mean, but we need more. And I think representation is all that is really, really what matters. And yeah, vote. I think that's the most important thing to end on.
And then also just to remind people that tomorrow is the deadline for in-mail ballot, and early voting is happening between the 22nd and past the 22nd. I think the 28th, and our state primary election is September 1st. So these things, like state-wise, like our state representatives are important because they then get the message out to the Senate and all that. So
even as small as city council, because city councilors, guess who voted to keep all the budget for Boston Police Department?
Let them know.
All the white city councilors of like the the one Afro-Latina, one Asian, and one black woman. Of those 3 black women, those were the only votes about defunding the police. So representation matters. These women are out there fighting for us. Women of color are killing it in the game. They are our political futures, and some men need to take some seats and let us rise up, because we're the real change. Period. All right, and that's the word we're born. Thank you so much.